Celebration turns tragic during RCB Victory Parade near Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangaluru. Deputy CM D.K. Shivakumar apologizes. Caste census to begin nationwide from March 1, 2027. Exercise to begin early in J&K, Himachal and Uttarakhand in October 2026. Death toll in northeast, flood rises to 36, more than 5.5 lakh people affected. Kamal Hassan refuses to apologize, reiterates Tamil identity as stalemate over release of Thug Life continues. Setback for Rahul Gandhi as Allahabad High Court rejects plea over alleged derogatory remarks on army during Bharat Jodo Yatra. Prime Minister Modi meets Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles in Delhi, discusses India-Australia strategic partnership. Pakistan issues fresh no time for Rahim Yar Khan runway to remain closed till June 20th, 2025. Pakistan Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar says chances of revival of an armed conflict between Pakistan and India remote. At least 11 fans, including a child, died in a stampede during the Victory Day celebration of the Royal Challengers Bengaluru over Punjab Kings in the final of IPL 2025. The stampede took place as thousands of fans gathered outside Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangaluru to celebrate the victory of RCB in the IPL on Tuesday. More than 20 people are feared to be injured. Overcrowding and lack of crowd control could have triggered panic outside stadium during the celebrations. Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has apologized for the incident, even as BJP has demanded a judicial inquiry into the stampede.
I have spoken to the police commissioner and all the people. I am also going a little late to the hospital because now a lot of trouble is there. I don't want to disturb the doctors who are trying to take care of the patients, and only the exact number is not been still this one. So we are at it. We appeal to all of them to still to be calm.
BJP State President B.R. Vijayendra visited the injured in the hospital. Let me play out the bite.
State government has to take complete responsibility on this tragedy. When the entire nation was celebrating and entire Karnataka was celebrating RCB's victory, without any proper preparedness, state government's urgency to organize victory rally is the cause for this big tragedy. And state government never bothered about preparedness. So I demand Chief Minister to take up the responsibility, and he should refer the matter for the judicial inquiry.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Home Minister G. Parmeshwara held a meeting to assess the situation. The stampede took place when thousands of fans attempted to enter the stadium in a hurry from various gates. Police at the scenes transported the injured to the ambulances and shifted them to the nearby Bowring hospital. Police said that ambulances were unable to move quickly to the hospital due to the overcrowding on the road. Let me play out these visuals to you. 11 fans have died in a stampede. 11 fans have died in a stampede. Something which was in a celebratory mood turned so tragic. And it happened in the Bangalore Chinnaswamy Stadium on Wednesday during the RCB Victory Day Parade, leaving people dead. Let me just go across to Nabila Jamal, Executive Editor, News 9. Someone who understands Bangalore very well, someone who has reported from Bangalore. Nabila, I mean to say, there will be an investigation as to how this happened. Where did the lack took place in arrangement? But I'm just surprised that when people knew that this is a very exciting event for the people of Bangalore, I mean, so this was very much avoidable.
Absolutely, Kartikeya. In fact, D.K. Shivakumar has just spoken, and his words don't really come out with clarity. He says we believed and hoped there would be only 5,000 odd people, but the number that showed up were nearly 45,000 people. And along the streets of Bengaluru, which is so narrow, you barely can have three cars in one road at the same time. That's how narrow roads in the center of Bengaluru is. Right outside Chinnaswamy Stadium, those are just barely 4-lane roads, not big enough to actually hold 45,000 people. Where was the ambulance? Where was the police presence to manage that kind of crowd? If at all the Karnataka government decided that they wanted to felicitate the players of RCB, they should have been better prepared and planned. They should have had ambulances in place, hefty police deployment, call additional forces, looking at the kind of celebrations, the exuberance and the crazy fanfare that RCB has, and the fact that RCB won after 18 long years. It was incumbent on the state government of Karnataka to bring in additional police forces, deploy them at adequate points across Chinnaswamy Stadium so that this stampede situation does not happen. Let me tell you, Karthike, matches happen on a regular basis at Chinnaswamy Stadium. There have been near stampede-like situations in the past across Chinnaswamy Stadium, which is located right in the heart of Bengaluru city. It's right in the central business district area. It's entirely packed. That entire area itself is riddled with traffic. You have huge traffic presence in that very corner of, or the entire surrounding of Chinnaswamy Stadium is choco-block. So when you know there's going to be traffic, when you know that there are going to be crowds who will come to get a glimpse of the RCB players, then where were the additional forces deployed? We did not see that kind of police force present there to ensure that a stampede situation does not occur. More importantly, there were no ambulances on the street. So this is entirely the responsibility on the state government of Karnataka, and as expected, the BJP lapping it up, accusing the Congress government of laxities. You had B.Y. Vijendra, the president of the BJP, outrightly saying that the Congress government has to take full responsibility. What was the need for all these photo ops? Which is true. If one may ask, there should have been at least a little time taken for the situation to calm down, celebrations to subside, and then maybe a felicitation could have been organized separately. But to have done it in the heat of the moment, of course, the people are excited and they're enthusiastic to catch a glimpse of the players. At the time when they're so excited, you have players now holding a parade. Remember, they actually cancelled the victory parade on the road itself for the same very reason, saying that they cannot handle the crowd. It will be overwhelming. Then what was the need for the bus itself to move all the way from Chinnaswamy Stadium to Vidhan Sauda? First they arrived at Vidhan Sauda, then they went to Chinnaswamy Stadium. Even if it was not an open top parade, people were still there present to look through the buses to catch a glimpse. So if at all the government has actually held a whole felicitation ceremony for the photo optics of it, then they should have been very well doubled up with their police forces and their protection mechanism. No
Nabila,
ambulance on the streets is the biggest
absolutely
mistake of the Congress here.
Nabila, you stay with me. You stay with me. I'm also joined by Sandeep Aniruddhan, convener, Citizen Agenda for Bengaluru. More than 10 people have died. More than 20 people are injured. I don't know how many people are injured. The fact of the matter is that someone did not do the job properly. Sandeep.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that someone is the person who's in charge of the city today. And that happens to be the state government. And why the state government is in charge of the city is another bigger riddle, because we are mandated to have a city government, and the state government has not allowed elections for 5 years, and the state government is running around like a headless chicken. Neither does it do justice to the city, nor does it do justice to the state. This squarely rests on, the blame rests on the state government. There is no escape from this. The city is supposed to have a proper city government which can do these things. But then we have a state government where we have a chief minister and a deputy chief minister who seem to have an obsession with being the mayor and deputy mayor of Bengaluru. And this is the outcome. This is not the worst that's happening, actually. Much worse things have been happening, or a series of bad legislations have been proposed for the city without taking the city into consideration. A whole lot of dubious projects are being hoisted on the city. This, it would be unfair to say this is not the worst. Maybe this is perhaps one of the worst symptoms of it, that there is no proper city government in the city, and there is nobody to look out for the city. There's nobody to plan, nobody to, it's just that the state government is treating the city like an afterthought, and this is the consequence. It's high time this changes. We need elections immediately to the city. In whatever form the ward delimitations are, 198, 243 or 225, they should hold an election immediately. They should hold it this month. And whatever else the state government is proposing for the city, I think they should get it ratified with a properly elected municipal council. Without that,
Sandeep, let me introduce my other guest immediately. Let me introduce my other guest immediately. Vivek Menon, former advisor to the CM of Karnataka, is also there with me. Your opening comments, and I need to go back to my colleague Nabila Jamal. Vivek.
I think this is an extremely sad day coming on the heels of a victory that we just had. It's very unfortunate that this lack of planning has resulted in the death of almost 10 to 12 people today. I think the Bangalore police should have obviously recognized the kind of euphoria that is probably going to erupt on the back of this victory and planned it a lot better. And if they were not prepared for this, they should have probably delayed it by a day or two. The other thing is that converging, they should have probably blocked off a route all the way from maybe the HAL airport to Vidhana Saudha, which they were planning to do, and had the crowds dispersed across the entire length of the parade, as compared to telling everybody to just show up at Chinnaswamy Stadium. And I think so there's been a lack of planning. Obviously, there's going to be a political blame game going back and forth. But at the end of the day, Bangaloreans have lost their lives. RCB fans have lost their lives. And I think it's an extremely sad day for us. And I'm extremely surprised that the police force, especially led by Mr. Salim, who's a traffic expert, did not plan this better. The DCM has come out saying that they had over 5,000 policemen, but what were they doing? They usually when VIPs or VVIPs show up in our city, they plan this a lot better. They cordon off the entire road all the way from the HAL airport to Vidhan Saudha. So this could have been done in those same lines so that people could have dispersed along the entire route. They wouldn't 10 lakh people or how many ever lakh people showed up at Chinnaswamy wouldn't have shown up at one location, and they could have enjoyed the celebration. This could have been a victory celebration after 18 years that we would have all celebrated. But today we are mourning the loss of 10 to 12 RCB fans and probably more. It's very, very unfortunate. And this is the kind of lack of planning I think Sandeep was just referring to. The city governance.
So I just need to stop you. I just need to stop you here for a minute. There's some additional information that has come in. The additional information that has come in is that there was a slab put on a drain near the stadium premises and the people stood over it and the drain broke open, the slab, and people died in the resulting stampede and panic. Nabila, to you.
From that's information that we've yet to corroborate, Karthikeya, but from what we know is that many of those fans, I could say there were many hooligans amidst those fans, but that's for something the government has to in fact anticipate and should have kept adequate police presence in place. But they were trying to jump over barricades, climb over trees, get off gates. They were really unruly and it was difficult, and the police were clearly outnumbered. They had very limited police presence at that point. Gate number 18 of Chinnaswamy Stadium is an area which usually sees that kind of overwhelming crowd, because it's largely the masses, the Janta crowd, barely any money for those tickets there. It was a ticketed event. The Chinnaswamy Stadium felicitation was an event where you needed a pass. But yet we saw nearly 45,000 people show up, not to enter with a pass, but just to stand at the periphery of the Chinnaswamy Stadium to get one glimpse of the cricketers. And it's not as if it hasn't happened before. I can guarantee you, game after game, all through this IPL season, whenever there was a match at Chinnaswamy Stadium, a lot of the fans who were the general masses, I could say, were standing outside to catch a glimpse of the cricketers rather than take a ticket and go inside, because buying a ticket is expensive. So they would stand on the road and then they would wave at the buses or the cricketers coming and going. these are very small narrow lanes, like Vivek also may have elaborated. It's impossible for even 3 cars to go at one go right opposite Chinnaswamy Stadium. That's how narrow those roads are. This has happened in the past, so the cops should have anticipated a fallout like this on a day like this. After 18 years of wait, IPL has finally come to RCB's side. They won the match. Celebrations could be chaotic, could have turned violent, something that the government should have anticipated and deployed adequate police security, but that clearly has not happened. We hear some kids have died, and that's what's really tragic here. Those images that we see on our screens there of people trying to save those who came under their feet while they were being pushed and pulled.
Nabila, just hold on a minute. We've got a bite of Siddaramaiah, the Chief Minister of Karnataka. Let me play out that bite. People were trying to ask me as to what happened, and then I'll come back to you.
Sir, your thoughts on the tragedy, sir? Siddaramaiah, sir, your thoughts on the tragedy. What do you have to say, sir? So many people have died.
So Siddaramaiah not responding to that. I am also joined by GS Prashant, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party Karnataka. So thank you for joining me. Your opening comments on this issue. Is it a case of mismanagement or pure bad luck?
No, it is definitely not bad luck. It is complete mismanagement because they have violated every possible security arrangement that they ought to have made. And they are so insensitive. Even after the news spread that people have died, the Congress ministers have continued the celebrations inside, which means they have no regard for the loss of life. And this is such a poor planning, and law and order in Karnataka, especially in Bangalore, is not to be seen for the last 24 months. Because ever since they have taken charge, these instances can be brought out week by week, and probably we will take a day to complete the mismanagement and how unprepared they are for any civic issue. Civic apathy is at its probably the worst ever situation in the history of Bangalore. And there is absolutely no management and no responsibility. The Home Minister doesn't own up the responsibility. The DCM, who is in charge of the Bangalore, is also the Bangalore in charge minister, doesn't own up. The CM doesn't own up. In fact, they are now blaming the fans, saying, why did you come? We wanted to celebrate it as a private event of Siddaramaiah, Shivkumar and others. But unfortunately, for them, the fans came. RCB is made by the fans, not Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah. They should realize that. And they should have made proper arrangements, ensured that the roads from HL Airport to Vidhan Sabha are barricaded, ensured that there is no problem, because they knew the time of arrival at HL was known much before, saying that they are arriving at 1:30 and at what time they are planning a celebration in Vidhan Sabha. Everything was known. They should have taken better precautions to ensure that people do not lose life when they are in fact out on the roads to celebrate. Can it be more tragic than this? Our empathies are with the families of those who have lost their lives. Imagine, they have gone to celebrate the victory which has come after 18 years, and that family has to now endure the loss of life of the dear one. Whose fault it is? It is the state government who is completely responsible, and the buck stops at the CM, the Home Minister and the DCM. They can't shift the blame to
Mr. Prashant, point taken. Mr. Prashant, point taken. You know, Sandeep, there is another issue. You know, this has taken place at a time when, you know, the city is congested. People find it difficult to go back. We are showing you the visuals of the metro. Let's play those visuals again. You know, even the metro stations are full. Even the metro stations are full. There was a panic, and this is happening in the first city. I mean, so Bengaluru is no. It's unlike other city. It's a very important city. It's a big city, and then to have a situation where you know, such a tragic incident takes place. So can you tell me, you know, right now, have all the steps being taken? Sandeep?
Karthikeya, see, the biggest tragedy of Bengaluru is it is one of the most important cities in India. We call it the IT capital of the universe. We call it by different names. But this is one city which has zero governance, zero planning, because the state government doesn't allow these things to happen. We have one of the worst managed cities in India here. It has been called out by the Supreme Court in 2023. They said Bengaluru is an excellent example of urban ruin due to haphazard development. We haven't got our act together, and lastly, it is the state government that is to blame, because they want their fingers in every pie. Instead of focusing on the state, they're always focusing on the city and not allowing a city government to be installed or to function. And this is not just one political party that's responsible for this. The previous BJP party did the same thing. Now the Congress is continuing in the same vein. Both have not allowed elections to take place. And this government has gone even further. They are destroying the city whichever way possible. They are trying to split it up. They are trying to do all kinds of things. But the basics, every day we face congestion. Every day peak hours, metro is crowded. It is not the first time we've had a victory parade. We've had victory parades before. I'm sure there should be the institutional memory of that. The planning is simple. Victory parades take place all over the world with even larger numbers. There are victory parades that happen throughout an entire city, and there are no incidents. It goes incident free. It points to basically that right now there is no responsible authority in the city. The city is up for grabs. People are just trying to milk this city, and everybody is only focusing on making money out of this city. Nobody cares about solving the problems of the city, and we don't have a responsive city government simply because we don't have one. And who's to blame? It is the state government, and we are being deprived in every way of governance, of civic management. Things are just crumbling around.
Sandeep, I remember 10 years ago, BJP came out with a Greater Bengaluru manifesto. Prakash Javadekar was in charge of it. Nabila, if you recall that, there was a Karnataka manifesto, and they came out with a Greater Bengaluru manifesto, and it was all about envisioning Bengaluru. What has happened to Delhi does events like this, Mumbai does events like this, many cities does events like these. And Nabila, before you could answer, I'm showing the visuals on the right side where in the entire mismanagement is evident. On the left side, we have politicians visiting the hospital, and obviously people are very, very aggrieved. Loved ones have died. Nabila, to you.
Right. I do want to explain the visual on the right side of our screens there, Karthikeya. You did rightly mention a slab could have broken off, a slab that was placed over a drain at one of the gates of Chinnaswamy Stadium. We hear that fans out of excitement stepped on one of those slabs, and that slab broke away, and some of them fell, and that led to panic and eventually a stampede. So if this is true, then this comes down to blame on the civic body, the BBMP. How can an open drain be just haphazardly covered by a slab? If that's really the story here, then it's much deeper. The blame should be taken by the government and the civic body alike for allowing a stone so loosely placed over a drain like that, knowing very well there could be crowds, people could be running helter-skelter. Exactly what has happened, that's led to the death of 11 people. And what's shocking here is that so far the government hasn't really put a finger on the number of deaths. We are confirming the deaths. News 9 here has said 11 people have been confirmed based on our reportage on the ground. But so far, Siddaramaiah nor DK Shivkumar has said nothing on the numbers of deaths. They've said that it's roughly around this number. We can't give you an exact number right now. So which very well means that the death toll could rise. There are many people, critical condition, currently hospitalized.
Let me straight away go to Mr. Menon, Vivek Menon, former advisor to the CM of Karnataka. There can be a local issue, there can be an immediate issue, but I think, I completely agree with Nabila and my other panelists. Bengaluru is suffering with larger issue of infrastructure.
Indeed.
I think that's where the issue is, sir.
No, the thing is, over the past, whatever 5 to 7 to 10 years, in the absence of a city governance, right? Every successive state government has wanted to obviously wrest power because Bangalore is the goose that lays the golden egg. And so, in fact, right now they've come up with the Greater Bengaluru Authority, which basically strips away all powers from the BBMP. Not to say that the BBMP was very effective, but at the same time, it was the last mile connectivity. It was the entity that basically was responsible for all of the civic improvements in the city, including solid waste management, the roads, and all of that. And so they've just created a new body under the state government because they obviously want to, take control. Bangalore is a city that has a huge budget. The state itself has over 180,000 crores in revenues. Bangalore is responsible for a significant chunk of that. So obviously, there's a big breakdown in actually civic management within the city. No particular entity that I can think of, BWSSB, BBMP, BESCOM, none of them really take any accountability or responsibility for the infrastructure that we have today. And so when Nabila said that, that there was a slab that broke away, it does not surprise me. Bangalore's infrastructure is crumbling. Obviously, the population has grown from, 6 to 8 million to about 12 million now.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm also joined by DL Hanumanthaiah, Rajya Sabha member from Congress, and my colleague Vydehi, who has been reporting this from the ground zero. I'll go to the Rajya Sabha MP Congress after a minute, but first to Vydehi, who is from ground zero. Vydehi, what's happening?
Karthikeya, absolute tragedy at Bengaluru. 11 people have lost their life. We are at Vydehi, where 4 of them have lost their life and a few people have been injured. CM just visited the spot and we've sent those visuals of him coming here, speaking to the families who are distraughted, broken. It was a celebration that was supposed to happen today, but it has turned into a tragedy. We were one of those who caught that particular tragedy when we were passing by gate number 19 and we clearly saw how there were very few people managing the entire crowd and at one point of time the officer wasn't able to handle the crowd and he was trying to disperse and he was trying to make them come in the queue. That is when a lot of people found that as an opportunity that there was nobody at the gate and they started barging in towards the gate. That is when all hell broke loose and the police could not control the situation at that place at that particular point of time. Right now also we are seeing some and at that point of time the police could not handle that situation and you saw a lot of people barging inside the gate number 19 and that is the very spot where the tragedy struck is what we've been told. Right now also a ruckus has broken out at the hospital by the locals over there. Let me just try to pan my camera and try to show you what has happened. Okay, what we've been told, some hoodlums had come here and tried to create ruckus in front of the hospital. The police has chased them
Vydehi, you
away.
stay with me. You have done a magnificent job. You got that walkthrough when this entire thing took place. You stay with me, Vydehiullah. You stay with me. A quick reaction from Dr. L. Hanumanthaiah, Rajya Sabha member from the Congress party. Sir, your comments on this mismanagement, sir.
I'm former member of Rajya Sabha.
Sir.
I'm staying in Bangalore. I have seen Bengaluru yesterday also. There was a huge celebration for the victory of RCB throughout the night, as I have personally seen in many of the parts of the Bangalore. So the aspirations of the people were so high that they were enjoying and celebrating on their own on the streets, which the government has taken up the aspirations of the people to honor the RCB players. I don't think there is any wrong in government making such an attempt in celebration. I don't think any false intention of the government to take advantage of that, something like that. But the people who have arrived to the celebration function was in huge numbers. So there was the proper arrangement was lacking, I suppose. And just now I saw one information that there was a cabbage just fall down. So people went into panic and there was a stampede like this. So an account of this, we should learn that proper arrangement has to be made for these kind of huge functions which people voluntarily participate. Anything can happen. That tragedy has happened today in Bengaluru. Instead of Bengaluru celebrating such a big victory, which is the worldwide, but Bengaluru is facing a severe tragedy and we are all part of it. We are feeling very sad for it. And there was no better place than Chinnaswamy Stadium for the celebration, according to me. Because even if it is Vidhan Saudha or Chinnaswamy Stadium is more apt, and that is the place where 50,000 people can assemble there to watch the matches many a times, and another 50,000 people would have been outside the stadium also many a times. I have seen that. So this is an unfortunate incident. and there must be an inquiry into this incident, how this happened, what were the lacunas. If there was a serious lacunas, the government has to take a lesson from these kind of things and go further. That's what my feeling is. But I deeply mourn to the families of the bereaved in this great tragedy, and they should be properly compensated. That is what my personal feeling as a Congress party member also. And in this, I feel you should not bring politics into the deaths of people. It is a tragedy. A tragedy should not be politicized by any political party, whether it is BJP or Congress or somebody else. It should not be politicized. We must participate in the mourning of the people who have lost their lives with us. And they are not Congress party people, they are not BJP people. We should not politicize these kind of issues. And any political party taking the deaths of the people to politicize is a sin. I don't agree with it. I expect them to behave in improving the situation in Bengaluru, whether it is government of this party or that party. The people of Bengaluru should live peacefully. When this kind of celebrations come, when huge people coming here for any function, you have seen for Bangalore matches, cricket matches, there will be lakhs of people surrounding the stadium and inside the stadium also. Okay. There were no tragedies as I have seen. Okay. But today, it is most unfortunate that tragedy has happened. We must learn a lesson from these kind of things.
So let me play out a walkthrough of Wajiullah, who was there at the spot when he caught this entire event, chain of event.
RCB fans are right now at the Chinnaswamy Stadium trying to get inside the bus. You can see this is the mood of the people. All of them are here to celebrate the victory of RCB. Gate number 17 is where we are, and all of them are trying to make sure that they get a chance to go inside and see the IPL trophy. Thousands of them standing over here. Another 1,000 of them standing on the left hand side where I'm showing you my fingers. Every gate is jam-packed. People are trying their best to make sure if they can get inside any of these gates to go inside the Chinnaswamy and witness the RCB team lifting the cup, something that they waited for a very long time. So all of them are sitting here. This is the Chinnaswamy Stadium road which leads to the Vydehi. You can see the mood over here. This is celebration like never seen before in Bengaluru. So many fans have never gathered like this. This is happening after a very long time. We've seen this kind of a celebration during the Bangalore Football Club victory, and now you are seeing a similar situation, a similar celebrations happening at the Chinnaswamy Stadium also. Police had to do mild lathi charge so that they can move the fans who are behaving unruly. And this is something that you're witnessing here at the Vydehi. The police is trying their best to control the crowd, and it is not possible to control so many people. A small sort of lathi charge has also taken place. All the police presence is over here. There can be anything that can go wrong in this also. Fans have to understand that they should enjoy this moment than take it into the head. There is a chaos-like situation. The gate was open and people have rushed inside. You can see this. This is a very crazy moment taking place at the Vydehi. The mad rush going of people rushing inside.
Nabila, gate number 19, that's the information we have. I think if I look at it, this is a tragedy in making. Anyone would have known that, the crowd have swelled. This is not something which you would allow.
Kartikeya, I just heard the former Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress speak, and I completely disagree. Yes, mishaps happen. A tragedy can happen. A lot of times it's unavoidable. But this is something that could have been avoided because we knew very well that there could be overwhelming crowds. In fact, I'm in Delhi. I'm an RCB fan myself. I advised my family, I asked them not to go venture into the stadium or anywhere around the stadium at this point in time because there will be huge crowds. If a common person or if me with a basic understanding of the city as a localite in Bengaluru know very well that there could be crowds that will be unmanageable because Chinnaswamy Stadium is known to have such crowds outside. Like I said, they just stand around the stadium just to get one look at the stars, buses going in, buses coming out. That's the craze for the game and for the team RCB, right? So knowing very well, how did they not deploy enough security? Why were there not enough police personnel? Why was there no ambulance in place? Traffic was blocked off and cordoned off between the 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock period. Between those hours when the felicitation was to happen for VIP movement, traffic was blocked off. But why was there not enough protection to ensure that these people, the fans, general public who are coming, they be saved? Because we know that they can turn into hooligans. And that's exactly what happened here. Karthikeya, if you're looking, I'm looking at the list of people who have died. I can tell you there are nearly 7 women and children. Yeah, little girls, young boys, 17-year-old, 23-year-old, a kid as young as 7. Such young, the crowds had a mixed population, a mixed age group. There were kids in the crowds. How did the police not really ensure that they were protected? State security, people's security, citizen security, law and order is a state subject. It's government's responsibility. The police should have anticipated this. They haven't done it. So if they failed, they can't just blame it on fate. This shouldn't have been the fate. We could have really peacefully enjoyed the celebration that RCB won this IPL match 18 long years later without actually having to have seen this tragedy here. This could have been highly avoided. It was not done. It wasn't planned adequately.
Absolutely, Nabila. Absolutely. Let us straight away go to our correspondent Vajiola. Vaji, when you did that walkthrough, I could feel that that there is too much of crowd out there. Was there any advisory? Was there any mobile messaging that don't go near the Chinnaswamy Stadium? There's too much of crowd?
Well, to start off early in the morning itself, the Home Minister had said that doing an open big rally is not possible because the crowd is too much, it won't be able to handle it. But as in when they saw a lot of people trickling into the city from different parts and the numbers started swelling in, they had no other option because first we had no idea that there would be an open bus rally. Then we also saw the open bus moved out from the Chinnaswamy Stadium, which moved to the Vidhan Saudha. That is when the crowd also started getting an idea that yes, there could be a rally, and more people started coming in to the Chinnaswamy Stadium. At every point, if we could see, if in that particular sequence what we've seen, I am moving from one gate to another gate, and in both these gates there are thousands of people, and the amount of police officers that are present there was less. For the entire, they had deployed only 2,000 police officers. They were at various places, but at that particular spot, if you see carefully, there were 2-3 officers that were handling the crowd. And managing that crowd wasn't easy for anyone because you have thousands of people who are eagerly waiting to go inside, and as soon as they saw an opportunity, they took it and they all barged in, and that is where the tragedy happened. So overall, there was no proper presence of police at various places. Though there were police, they were not in large numbers. 2,000 was the presence of police. It was forewarned by the Home Minister that this would happen. They knew they should have done some arrangements with regards to that. But the swelling number of the crowd also was something they could not manage because we had seen footage of the bus that came from the airport carrying the players. They were also stopped at every interval because there were fans who were there. The crowd did not allow the bus to move. So at every juncture, the police was unable to handle things because the crowd kept swelling in. People started losing. At one point, I also saw when the police had raised the lathi to chase the crowd away, people held the lathi and started dancing and rejoicing that RCB has won. So all these situations that were happening and it became uncontrollable. It is at the foremost, you can call it a lot of lapses, a lot of mistakes that were done from the police's side. They did not have an idea on how many people would turn up. Even if they had an idea, they did not have the manpower or the man-force to manage that. And that is what we saw, how a celebration turned into a tragedy that was uncalled for.
Absolutely. I am also joined by GS Prashant, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party. He continues to be with me. So yes, government has admitted that a mistake has been made. But there is also a larger issue. The infrastructure issue of Bangalore was not made in last 2 years. It has been there for last 30 years, 25 years, sir. Mr. Prashant, can you please unmute yourself?
For the last, if you look at last 30-40 years, Congress has been in power for what, 80% of it? So therefore, let's not get back to that saying 30 years ago what happened, or from 30 years nothing has happened. Now, if you look at the Congress Rajya Sabha MP who spoke, he's trying to blame everybody else except Congress. And he's saying we should put, we are not politicizing it. We are saying it is complete lack of civic sense. There is no law and order. There is no proper planning. And you look at the DCM posing with the IPL trophy when people have died outside. It is in his knowledge that people have died. It's not that he's not aware. After the stampede, he does this photo op. What is it? What is the message that Congress is trying to send out? Whom are they trying to shield? What is that they want to send out a message to people? That the photo ops will continue, and you can't blame the fans, you can't blame the players, because they would, I'm sure the players are not aware as to what's happened outside. The players should have believed genuinely that Congress government would have taken adequate precautions and law and order would be taken care of. As a player, he will not be bothered about whether the police is providing security or not, because they would assume that the security is there for everyone who's coming to the stadium to be a part of the celebration. Not bothered about any of these things. Now they are going on the offensive, blaming the fans, blaming the BJP, and now please, for heaven's sake, don't take this issue up. From 30 years, Bangalore City is having an issue. Whatever issues are there, Congress came to power in the last 2 years, stating that they will repair all that was broken earlier. Therefore, now they cannot say that it was the misgiving of somebody else and they cannot escape responsibility. And there is no point in trying to shield Congress in any which way here. The buck stops with the CM, the DCM and the Home Minister. And even now, if the Home Minister doesn't resign...
Prashant, let me get my colleague Nabila. Because Nabila has covered Bangalore very well. Nabila, where does the buck stop here?
Well, the buck stops with the government taking responsibility, ordering for an inquiry and finding out where was the failure ensuring security. Adequate security should have been deployed. If it wasn't, where exactly was the lapse? And let me tell you and our viewers very clearly, Kartikeya, that this was not on the day of the match. The match got over yesterday, peacefully ended with all the fans going back home safely. This was a government called for event. An event that was scheduled by the Karnataka Congress government, called the players to felicitate them, organized for this entire event and the shosha, the optics and the picture opportunity, and of course the Congress leaders, as much as you and I would have been excited to meet with the players. Congress really in the state of Karnataka were overwhelmed by the victory. They wanted to meet the players and felicitate them. They wanted to honor this victory that Bangalore had been waiting for 18 long years, Karnataka had been waiting for. So if it was a government organized event where they invited the players, then this was entirely their responsibility to ensure security. It was a separate event. An IPL organization or organizers has nothing to do with it either, because IPL game itself is completely over. This was a government call for event on the next day to felicitate and to take pictures and videograph and the whole media shosha. So then why did the government not take charge and ensure security as well? They know the kind of craze that RCB has. How did they not anticipate this? DK Shivkumar saying we thought only 5,000 people will come, but eventually 45,000 people landed. Their estimation was so wrong. It's hard to believe that none of them thought about it. And since this has happened, 11 people have lost their lives.
What I want to ask from you, Nabila, what I want to ask from you is 5,000 to 45,000, Nabila. I mean to say 5,000 to 10,000, 5 to 15, 5 to 20, 5 to 25. But 45,000 coming up, I mean to say, the city has CCTV cameras, city has the intelligence tools to monitor the movement of people and the vehicular traffic. It's available there. It's done in Delhi, it's done in Mumbai. The crowd management at Kumbh, where lakhs and lakhs of people happen, it's done through the cameras and there's so many other instruments. I mean to say, this was such a high profile event.
How could you get the estimation so totally wrong, right? That's what I'm saying. 5,000 people you've anticipated, 45,000 people showed up. This was something that all of us know that Chinnaswamy Stadium has a capacity of over 1.5 lakhs. So if you are anyway going to allow people inside the stadium, then you should very well know that once the felicitation is over, outside the stadium also there will be that many people. So 45,000 people is easy for Chinnaswamy Stadium to hold. Outside, inside a lot more. So this 5,000 estimation is completely wrong. It's just basically he shot off his mind without actually having to think deep into this. And now that the tragedy has happened, not just a compensation will work. The people who are responsible in providing inadequate security must be held responsible. Investigation should be following this tragedy here, and there should be exactly those pinpointing who made the mistake of not ensuring police presence, not ensuring ambulance, and the civic body is responsible for leaving that open drain there with a loose slab which broke, that led to chaos and a stampede.
Go across to Vydehi, because Vydehi was the person on spot. Vydehi, tell me, what is your estimate of the crowd that was there? And secondly, Vydehi, did you feel when you were reporting the event that the crowd was surging beyond its capacity?
Karthik, I have been seeing this from last night, and trust me, there was not a single road where you could not find people. Every road was jammed. Yesterday it took me 2 hours to come back from the venue, which otherwise takes me half an hour. But it took me 2 hours to come back to my place and get those visuals done. So because that crowd was everywhere. Today morning also, when we started moving out from at around 12 o'clock, we saw thousands of people already on the street marching all the way to Vidhan Sauda. By the time we reached Chinnaswamy Stadium in the initial hours, I could have aramse said that there were 20 to 30,000 people already at various gates spread out across the Chinnaswamy Stadium, at the MG Road area, at the Cubbon Park Circle, because there was traffic jam, people walking, people in bikes, hooting, shouting, celebrations and all that. And by the time we started coming to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, that is where we saw a massive amount of crowd at Vidhan Sauda, massive amount of crowd at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, and we could have aramse touched anywhere more than 1 lakh people on the ground itself. While Chinnaswamy otherwise has the capacity of just 40,000 people, and the police had made arrangements for 30 to 35,000 people to enter inside, and there were already lakhs of people outside the gates itself, and nobody was handling them. So the crowd started swelling in from last night itself. People from different districts, people from various places started walking in. I spoke to a lot of them who said they came from Chikballapur, which is 100 kilometers. They came from Hubli. They came riding from Tumkur whole night to be present at this venue. So you had people already coming in. If they would have taken 2 more days and announced that we are doing celebration on this day, we would have expected even more people, because then they would have got the time and date and everything on when they have to come and what time they have to come. But this was done all of a sudden with the lack of proper police presence. But if you ask about the crowd, it kept swelling in minute by minute. We saw people coming in from every road had people there. It was jam-packed. There was no place to walk in. And while I was reporting that, all of a sudden when we at that gate number 19, we saw Lati charge, and there also I am saying that we can expect some sort of stampede also over here, because the crowd is so much. People are losing their sense. People are not able to figure out where they have to stand, where they shouldn't stand. So it was a chaotic situation, Karthikeya, at the end of it. There was no proper management, and that is what caused these tragedies.
Okay, and Vydehi, to the specific context of the drain, can you just take us through that information that is coming, that the slab on the drain collapsed?
I can't hear you.
You know, the slab on the, okay, I don't think I'm able to go across to Vydehi. Nabila, now a lot of things have happened. Do you think that the politics is going to take better of the important issue, which is infrastructure management? Nabila?
Right. You know, Karthikeya, Congress is facing a lot of heat over the last few weeks as floods have really exposed yet again Bengaluru's poor infrastructure. It was the same DK Shivkumar who went cracking around the IT sector, saying any building constructed over stormwater drains will be punished. Their bulldozers will roll over their buildings. They will have to face a fine. So the government is now taking a hard stance in ensuring that they fix the infrastructure. But while in the midst of it, they've clearly lost sight because you know that the city is it's a town. Bengaluru is, I would say, it's a town that has just been forced into a city. The population is just doubled, tripled in the last 2 decades. There's hardly any space, and I did cross-check. In fact, Chinnaswamy Stadium has a seating capacity of 40,000 people. So 40,000 people inside, the stadium is packed. And then you have an additional thousands, I'm not too sure of the exact number. We hear that there were 45,000 people outside the stadium. So there itself you're inching in closer to a lakh. Where is 5,000 people that you estimated, and where is 45,000 people outside the stadium? Inside there were still many more. So there itself the number and estimation, the judgment was completely wrong for a government who has governed Karnataka for most part of Karnataka's tenure as a state itself. They have been a party that has governed Karnataka multiple times, more number of times than the BJP. But nonetheless, when you speak of where the buck stops, I would say consecutive governments have failed to ensure civic governance in the city of Bengaluru. Civic governance is extremely poor. BBMP has received a lot of flack, which is why the Congress government has now come around to establish the Bengaluru governance bill.
Nabila, you stay with me. Let me just read the tweet of the CM of Karnataka. It is with great shock. We heard the news that several people lost their lives and others were seriously injured in a stampede during RCB's team's victory celebrations at Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru. The pain of the tragedy has even erased the joy of victory. May the souls of the deceased rest in peace, and may those injured and those undergoing treatment in the hospital recover as soon as possible. My condolences to the bereaved families who have lost their loved ones. The team was not allowed to march in the victory parade in anticipation of an unpleasant incident that could occur due to such a stampede and the crowd becoming uncontrollable. However, the accident occurred due to a stampede that occurred due to the crowd of people gathered near the stadium. I appeal to the public to understand that life is more important than love and affection, and to give safety first priority. So, Siddaramaiah has, made that statement. Sandeep Aniruddhan also continues to be with me. Sir, all these statements are now coming. I hope this tragic event serves as a reminder to people that when you organize such events, a lot of hard work needs to be done before. Sandeep.
Karthik, crowd control apparently was missing. It's as if they didn't even plan. And as Nabila rightly said, an event like this, cricket is religion in India. Fans are crazy. A win like this after 18 years, they should have expected lakhs of fans to show up. That should have been the planning. This is ridiculous. And whoever is in charge of this mishap needs to be pulled up for this overlook. And you also rightly said, the political parties like to dismiss the present state of civic apathy in Bengaluru is largely because for the last 30 years, there has been no planning and there has been no governance.
I'll just stop you. I think Siddaramaiah, the Chief Minister, has started to speak. We will be cutting across to it. Siddaramaiah, the press conference is happening. Siddaramaiah is addressing the people of Karnataka. Will be cutting to that press conference very quickly. It's very, very important. And our reporters, Nabila, Sandeep Aniruddhan continues to be with me. Let me just tell you that these visuals are deeply shocking. It's a tragedy that has taken place in Bengaluru. I think politics can take place later, but people have died, people have been injured. It should serve as a reminder that when events like these take place, there should be better management. Responsibility also lies with a lot of people. We are straight away cutting across to Siddaramaiah.
DGP, ikkade banni. Nan pakka. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಾತ್ರಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಧ್ಯರಾತ್ರಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಟಾಟಾ IPL ಮ್ಯಾಚು ಫೈನಲ್ ನಡೆದಿತ್ತು ಅಹಮದಾಬಾದ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಆ ವಿಜಯೋತ್ಸವ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅವರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಹಮ್ಮಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರು. ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ವತಿಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಏರ್ಪಾಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಜಯೋತ್ಸವ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿನ್ನಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಕ್ರೀಡಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದುರಂತ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ಜನ ಕಾಲು ತುಳಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿ ಹನ್ನೊಂದು ಜನರು ಮೃತಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೂವತ್ಮೂರು ಜನರು ನೋವಿಗೆ ಒಳಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂಜೂರ್ಡ್ 33 ಜನ.
33 people have been injured and are receiving treatment.
ನಾನು ಬೌರಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಗೆ, ವೈದೇಹಿ ಮಲ್ಯ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಗೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ.
They are currently receiving treatment at Vydehi and Lady Cousin and Vydehi Malya Hospital.
ಈ ಸಂಭ್ರಮ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ದುರಂತ ನಡಿಬಾರ್ದಾಗಿತ್ತು.
It's unfortunate that this tragedy has happened in the midst of celebration.
ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಹಳ ದುಃಖವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ.
The government is very pained with what has happened.
ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಗೂ ಮೀರಿ ಜನ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳು ಸೇರಿದರು.
People who were fans of RCB had all gathered.
ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಸುಮಾರು 1 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಸೇರಿದ್ರು.
More than 1 lakh people had gathered.
ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದ ಮುಂದೆ ನಡೆದಂಥ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಅನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿತ ಘಟನೆ ನಡೆದಿಲ್ಲ.
When the event felicitation happened in front of Vidhan Sauda, the situation was calm. There was no tragedy.
ಆದರೆ ಚಿನ್ನಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ದುರಂತ ಆಗಿದೆ.
But when the event reached Chinnaswamy Stadium, the situation went out of control. Nobody anticipated this.
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅವರು ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Even the Cricket Association did not anticipate it, neither did we anticipate this crowd.
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ 35,000 ಜನ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಸನ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು.
The cricket stadium has about 35,000 people who can sit in the stadium, seating arrangements for nearly 35,000 people.
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ
Inside Chinnaswamy.
35 ಆಸನಗಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಅದು. ಆದರೆ 2-3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
But nearly 2-3 lakh people turned up.
2-3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
2-3
ಮತ್ತೆ
lakh
ನಿನ್ನೆ
people turned
ಮ್ಯಾಚ್
up.
ನಡೆದಿರೋದು
While
ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ
capacity
ನಮಗೆ
inside
ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ
Chinnaswamy was only 34,000.
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅವರು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Nobody anticipated this.
ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
That these many people would show up. We never imagined.
ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಇತ್ತು.
We thought those stadium capacity numbers of people who can fit in the stadium, that's like approximately how much would actually arrive, maybe a little more.
ನಾನು ಸತ್ತ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ವಾರಸುದಾರರಿಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಸತ್ತಿರೋರು ಯುವಕರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಯುವಕರೇ, ಯುವ ಜನಾಂಗದವ್ರೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
There are girls, boys who have died.
ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.